Hi, Machen chapter 6. Machen chapter 6 is basically a combination of the previous two chapters, 4 and 5, because it's dealing with adjectives. And adjectives always agree with their nouns with their particular Greek endings. So in chapter 4, when we learn the endings for masculine and neuter nouns, and then chapter 5, when we learn the endings for the feminine nouns, well, an adjective just has to be prepared to take any one of these three endings, masculine, feminine, and neuter, in order to agree in form with the adjective that it's modifying. So if you have a blue man, as the man changes form, the word for blue has to change form. If you have a blue woman, I know it sounds silly. As woman changes form, blue does too. So when we're looking at the adjectives, they're just a combination of the endings that we've learned in chapter 4 and chapter 5. And I'll kind of give you an example. Take the Greek adjective agathos. It means good. In this case, it means morally good. You would just take the word agath and then put the masculine, feminine, and neuter endings on it. Agathos, agathe, agathon. In the genitive, which is always the second row of the paradigm, it would take the corresponding masculine, feminine, and neuter genitive endings, agathu, agathes, agathu, agatho, agathe, agatho, agathon, agathane, agathon, and so forth. That's all it is for adjectives. Adjectives is just taking a base and putting the masculine, then the feminine, and then the neuter endings on top of it, just like we learned in the previous two chapters for anthropos, aletheia, which is feminine, and doron, which is neuter. The other thing we want to learn in Machen chapter 6 is the article, the form of the article first, and then the use of the article. Now, the form of the article is very, very easy because it's an adjective. It has the same endings that we just discussed and we just had in chapters 4 and chapter 5, with the exception of the nominative, which is the first row. The masculine singular is ha, the feminine singular is he, and then the neuter singular is ta. But then after that, they borrow the same endings of all the nouns, like for instance, logos, logu, logo, logon, just starting with an initial tau. So the genitive, or the second row of the paradigm, the second row of the model, would have all the corresponding masculine, feminine, and neuter endings just with an initial tau. For instance, the genitives would go to, taste, to. The datives would go to, te, to. The accusatives would go ton, tain, ta. Just like we learned before. So the word, the article, the word the is an adjective. If I said a blue man, I would have an adjective blue having the same endings as the word man. But if I said the blue man, it would just be like two adjectives, the blue man, and they all have the same form. One of the things we want to do about the use of the article is differentiate between an attributive construction and a predicate construction. An attributive and predicate, these words are a little bit technical, but the attributive construction is a construction with an adjective and a noun without any verb of being or auxiliary verb, which in English comes across as am, is, or are, like I am, you are, he is. An attributive construction, like the blue man, is an implied comparison. The blue man as opposed to an orange man, or the blue man as opposed to a red man. The predicate construction, the second kind of construction, is a construction with this helping verb, this auxiliary verb, am, is, or are. I am good. You are blue. In this particular construction, this adjective is predicating something about a noun, a person, place, or thing without any implied comparison. And if I say the word is good, I'm just telling you something about the word. I'm not comparing it to any other type of word out there. If I say the man is blue, I'm just talking about this man, saying something about him without reference to any other man out there. So in the first case, the attributive construction, the blue man, it's an implied comparison as opposed to some other man, the green man, the orange man. However, if I say the man is blue, I'm just predicating something about the man without any implied comparison. The way this is done in Greek is that if you have the article followed directly by the adjective, there is no predication. There is no am, is, or are. So if I have, for instance, ha kalos anthropos, when the adjective directly follows the article, there's no am, is, or are in English, the beautiful or the wonderful man. However, if I have the adjective without the article in front of it, kalos ha anthropos, or ha anthropos kalos, if there's a bare adjective without an article, then you put an am, is, or are separating the adjective and the noun. Kalas ha'anthropos, beautiful is the man. Ha'anthropos kalas, the man is beautiful. The basic rule of use, if an adjective doesn't have the article, if there's an am, is, or are. If the adjective does have the article, it is the something man with no am, is, or are in the construction or in the translation. That's it. Machen chapter 6.